Hello and welcome. This is AlchemistExe, and currently I am finishing up the painstaking process of autoing part 1 of the Genesis boss. I don't know what it is about this boss in particular. It's always been a pain. It was a pain in Global for me for a while, and it was being a pain here. It took way more effort than the part 2 boss did, and I think for part 3 I need to raise units that aren't raised yet in order to accomplish that. Just because I don't have easy access to reaction block. But that's a whole other thing. So mostly I just want to talk about Genesis and the progression behind that, and then there's a few really good banners, and then that's pretty much it. So first and foremost, I will jump into the Genesis event. Okay, so let me get this out of the way first. Because Genesis was something that was completed in Global, I assume that if you were a Global veteran, you probably know how all of this works, and so I don't really have any new information for you. But if you are somebody who started a new account recently and maybe you never did Genesis, didn't get a chance to because you caught on before it reran again and then Global shut down, that kind of thing, or never got around to it. If you're unfamiliar with the process, like say you got your Emmel from the beginner banner and you want to enlighten him and you're like, wait, I can't because I need this special unique enlightenment totem and I don't know how to get it. So the answer to that question is that you get them in Genesis, with the exception of Dark Mira and Dark Nyx, who you'll find in the event tab that just have their own set of quests, one quest for each totem type, so 7 in total. You should totally do them anyway, even if you don't have the units, just because you'll get gems for the missions. You need to do each of those 5 times, but there are the only 2 like that. For the rest of the characters, you're going to find them in the Genesis story, and it's going to vary from quest to quest. Not all of them will even have them. I think after a certain point they will, though, just because there are so many characters' enlightenments they had to take care of. So the goal should be ideally to get to the Greed chapter for this rerun if you want to get your Emmel as enlightened as you can. He does have more later on, but just his basic enlightenment was in this chapter. I'm going to guess if you've only been playing a short amount of time, unless you're really lucky, your access to his shards are going to be somewhat limited. So getting him past like Gate 3 is already going to be enough of a challenge as it is. So this is a pretty straightforward box event, just like the one with the robot, if that was your first box event. Some of these levels are something of a pain to auto, like as I referenced in the intro, because they switched things up over as the course of the game went on, and it wasn't really designed with autoing in mind in the same way. Like, it was definitely possible, but the requirements for like tickets and coins was a little bit lower, and they didn't implement the skippable boss thing until after some of these bosses had already existed. So you definitely get the sense that later bosses were more designed with auto in mind. And that can lead to some frustrating things, but the nice thing about the AI in this game is, as it's dumb as it is, if you throw enough stats into something, you can just brute force it. You just have to be wary of whatever the map's mechanics are. So yeah, that is about all I have to say about Genesis and acquiring the unique materials. So let's go ahead and take a look at the banners. Okay, so let's take a look at the banners. So good banners this week for sure, but that's also something of a downside because we had pretty excellent banners last week, so that can be very draining. And April is almost here, so April Fools, of course, and then other things on the horizon like more Sacred Stones version 2 units, which take 20 steps to guarantee, and of course new dragons, which are going to be 5k unlimited. Depending on how you look at it, these banners certainly could be bait. That being said, that doesn't mean that they're bad banners. It's just all about how you want to prioritize your gem spending. So let's talk about the 65 5-star banners. One for units, one for mementos, otherwise the same format. We've seen these before many times in Global. The only real difference here is that there's a bonus 11th step. As Spinal Tap once said, 11 is more than 10. So definitely not a bad style to go with, especially if you are interested in just casting a wide net, and especially if you got a lot of normal pool units you need shards of too. So that way, even if the amount of limited you get is like average to low, you could still benefit. Like, I got 100 Vettel shards, and I was super happy about that, because that was, like, the final bit I needed to max limit break him. Just please rerun his job plus soon. I need it. I need a physical cover unit. Right now, it's a contest between Vettel and Gino, and who gets their job plus rerun first. Because I need to have a physical cover unit. It's getting hard to live without one. But that aside, a very important thing to note is that you cannot get dragon stuff from these. That also applies to the 100 5-star reroll banner. So if dragons or version 2 units are your priority, then that's going to make these a lot more skippable. Then we get to the Genesis coin banners. So this is just familiar territory. The only difference here is that there are 10 steps instead of 5 steps, but other than that, just pick up banner, 5% chance to get the various units. Which one is the best one to go for depends on which units you value. For me, that's 3 and 4. I used my discount ticket on it, got absolutely nothing. Then got Mattia from the unit banner, so I guess that balanced itself out. If you have Genesis units you want to raise, then it's definitely a good week for that, because you can, for 500 gems, get 200 Genesis coins. And then if you want to spend more gems, like say on the 65 5-stars, you could get yourself to like 3,000 or maybe even 12,000 and get yourself a pretty decent amount of Genesis coins while still getting a ton of guaranteed 5-stars. Because I don't know about you guys, but at least in Japan thus far, pickup banners have not liked me very much, so I've been a little weary of them. Besides that, though, there are 5-step unlimiteds for Legacy Ouroboros, Bianca, and Emmel version 2. So one of these is not like the other in that for Ouroboros and Bianca, you can get them from the previous mentioned banners for units. So that's going to be a little bit, they'd make a good bonus while also getting other stuff. Now, Emmel, on the other hand, you definitely need to do this to get her if she's the unit that you want to get. As a newish player in Japan, it's a lot less tempting because I definitely do not have a ridiculously maxed out Emmel like I did in Global. So not only would I have to deal with the hurdle of getting them max limit broken, but I also just don't have the shards of Emmel to enlighten either. So it's less tempting for me, and I imagine a lot of other players that started around the same time that I did. But if you got Emmel pretty quickly, you got 100 shards of her from the challenge board, and if she's been haunting you, then maybe version 2 is a good way to go. But I imagine whether or not you like the character is probably going to be the biggest deciding factor in that, like it always is. And then finally, the last banner that I wanted to talk about is just a selection banner for Genesis Mementos. It functions like a pickup banner. Just pick 6. Oh, I'd want to change this because I ended up getting Inaku's Memento earlier. But I'm not going to pull on that anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Definitely nice. I think that it's good that you can just pick them rather than splicing them up the way that they did with the units. So yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. So, with this out of the way, I'm going to do one more step of the unit banner and do like a live reaction for that, and we'll just see where that takes us, and then we'll close out the video. Alright, so yeah, this is the one that I'm going to do. So, I got Nyx and Mattia from this banner, so I can't really complain, but I do have to say that I got Rochelle more than once, and I find that upsetting. So I found that, like, if I go too deep into these banners, I tend to, like them less and less as I go on. But that is the opposite of dislike. That's pretty cool. This was, I'm glad I followed my gut. My, one of, like, I don't know, is he my second favorite character now? Maybe. He's definitely my favorite antagonist. Ooh, nice. Yeah, more Seda, please. I really want to get her Holy Guard stuff, because I need another Holy Guard person, because, like, my Zain is completely maxed out, but he needs another Holy Guard person. Although I don't know if Seda is going to be viable. Traditionally, people use Canon or Yaris for his stage. Oh, what are you doing, YouTube? I don't even play Wotiv. Sorry, that was a bit of a distraction, but that's what happens when you do it live. Alright, well, so far, so good. And Noah... Yeah, pretty glad to have Soul. I have one of his mementos already. So that's Oh man, stiff competition for Dark Shards though. Because I just raised Tomba, and then I got Matia recently. My elemental affinity in this game is very, very skewed. I got like fire and oh nice! Veer. I have her second memento. I got enough to transmute her recently, so I can start that process too. I guess also Sprock is high on my list of desired reruns. Because I have most of the normal pool Templars now. Oh, and now Teresa too. I think she's technically normal pool in JP, but she's one I've been farming too, so her Guts ability is awfully handy. And Leonia. Not sure if I'm ever going to raise her. We shall see. So well, got one of my favorite characters and 2 other characters that I would like to raise as an added bonus. So yeah, we'll definitely call that a win. So with that, if you summoned this week, I wish you all good luck, and I will see you all next time.